Okay, Diskreader has been sufficiently noogied, so just continuing on with our discussion. So then finally we kind of get to the party, which is obviously my favorite bit in the whole movie.
Oh, yes.
So what did you like about the party? Starts off in that some very colorful characters start coming in, and certainly some of the characters we recognize, some characters that are new just came in for the party and stuff like that. One of my favorite characters in the movie was certainly one of the party goers. Although yeah, I definitely heard you liked one of the other ones. And so what basically happens is that Scott does get Sally to go to the party. Ray goes, their friend Art goes, Scott goes, Steve goes, and he brings his Rob, of course. Rob goes with them. And then some people start coming in, some very colorful individuals like Richardson. This guy coming in wearing nothing but a goatee, a hoodie, and a really smirkish smile, real wicked smile, carrying a 2-liter bottle of Mountain Dew and wearing a Power Glove. And he and Steve do not get along one bit.
What I think was funny about Richardson is that in the last part that you actually see Carter, I think it is, he says he has to go break 2 of his fellow clients' knees in. And the funny part is that by the time he catches up with him, you find out who it is, which is Richardson. When at the party, he catches up with him, and that's when he decides to take him out of the party and go beat him up. So he can get his money back, because Richardson decided to pay his last payment in euros.
It's just as good as American money. And then Carter just grabs and says, "Do I have Doki Doki written on my forehead? I know for a fact I don't."
I do know that you have fear written on your forehead.
It's a great moment. Now, obviously, none of the you would think that wouldn't it work better if, let's say, Richardson got his comeuppance from obviously Steve or something? But the truth is like him and Steve were arguing the whole party. Like it was obvious that Steve was winning the argument the whole time. The fact that Carter came and dragged him out, it was like just the icing on the cake. It was obvious that Steve had won all those arguments that they were having.
The guy, I can't remember his name, but he was a heavier set guy. And he basically ran in, played once he...
Buford, man, I love that guy!
He's a heavier set guy wearing sunglasses. I think he was wearing a hoodie, too.
No, he was wearing like a jacket or something. He comes in, this kid's saying his name is Buford. I'm Buford. It's like, oh, Buford's here! He walks in, starts playing a game, plays 1 round, loses, says, I'm gonna forget this is
Steve comes back. Steve comes in from the kitchen. And he's like, hey, you just missed it. Buford was here. I was like, oh, I missed him.
I love that guy. Apparently, everybody knows him because he's at like every party for like 5 seconds. So he's like one of those guys. He's basically me at a family reunion. I go in, I leave.
die, bye.
Basically. That's the only thing that can make family reunions in my family bearable. And also we get a visit, and this is surprising, by Ray's ex-girlfriend, who we don't actually know much about, just that her name is Brenda.
And that she borrowed the game from Ray, and she came back to return it.
And there could have been something definitely between us. Now, of course, we know Brenda from that hilarious scene where he's describing the time when she was playing Super Mario Bros. 3 with him. However, she wasn't playing Super Mario Bros. 3, and he was very excited while he was playing. And of course, we all know why he was getting excited, because he got the 3rd star and he got 5 extra lives, of course. There was nothing else that would cause his excitement. She does poke her head up and say, "Are you close?" And he's like, "Yeah, you got the 5 lives." So of course he'd be happy. So like, I think they're gonna bump it up to Mario World after they're talking about that. It's a great moment because like they're talking about Bill Shatner for some other reason, and what kind of a drink would be a proper tribute to Bill Shatner. And of course I don't drink, but you know, even that kind of humor is not lost upon me. And it's a great moment where you see that things are going on between Scott and Sally, and things are going on between Ray and Brenda, and of course, well, we already know that things are going on between Rob and Steve, but not like that. It's just his son, you know.
And then
and of course, his last character in the party, remember?
Art.
Well, no, there was not just Art. Virtual Boyd.
Virtual Boyd.
Yeah, Virtual Boyd and Danny. Now, Virtual Boyd has got that name because he's blind, because as a kid he must have played Virtual Boy
Well, they actually did say that he played Virtual Boy so much to where he went blind, sued Nintendo, and won like $10 million, I think it was.
Yeah, he won like a multi-million-dollar lawsuit, and because of that, loves video games and just basically plays them by sound.
Of course, what he doesn't know is that
Danny, who's is either his girlfriend or his caretaker or something,
would pretty much kind of unplug his controller, plug in hers, and play for him. So at one point in the game, there was no sound going because he wasn't actually playing the game when he thought he was. And she had to run over, quickly plug in the controller and start playing.
And she was getting the highest scores over across the board. And then, but then there's Art,
which here's I want to point out before we even go into Art that the only reason people couldn't get over 5,000 points in Custer's Revenge is because they didn't think of strategy. Because
also the game is really hard. It's basically you get reset as soon as you get hit by one arrow. There's no health
or if you go on the hard
and accumulating points exactly. And accumulating points is very, very time consuming. You only take basically you're counting on 1 point, 2 points, 3 points, 4 points.
Goes 1 point.
I'm not going to talk about that. About what you have to do to get the points, but let's just say it counts off 1, 2, 3, and the game gets harder every 50 points. It goes faster.
Yeah.
Also, you only get a life every 100 points, or 1,000 points, or 500 points, or something.
So all of them refused to come up with a strategy how to beat Custer's Revenge.
Right. They were just playing and playing.
Who was keeping score for hours upon hours. And actually once said come up with a strategy, they refused to. He came up with one and realized everyone was too busy paying attention to what your main objective was. Realizing the arrows right as you're about to hit your head.
Right. So Art, during the best rendition of Journey's "Don't Stop Believing" ever,
pays attention. Only
stands up, takes the controller. Who hasn't ever played a video game in his life.
And this is also why no one's paying attention at all.
Right, exactly. Scott is basically outside talking to Sally. They're having their moment because Scott has come to his realization that there's parallels.
We're talking.
Well, let me finish this. Well, Ray and Brenda are talking, and they might be bringing it up to Mario World, but Scott has made the decision based upon the game that this game is just like life. It sucks. But you play it anyway because it's life. Exactly, you have to, just to see what's going to happen. And that's when he finally has the courage to go up to say to Sally, and just basically get the courage to say, it's like, he was nervous and he has to, and also, so while he's trying to while he's trying to get together with Sally, Art is trying to
beat the game.
Yeah, everybody's slowly realizing Art is doing this.
Of course, Stephen Rob's the only one who was
watching,
paying attention.
Exactly. They're cheering Art on. All the while, Journey's "Don't Stop Believing" is playing. Best use ever.
Which
Sopranos be damned on that one.
Which Art did figure out the strategy, which I'm guessing was what you even did say.
You can guess where the arrows were.
Yeah, not just because they repeat. And then you also always look at the arrows. You don't pay attention to your main objective. You pay attention to the arrows and where they are. Exactly.
As long as you pay attention to where the arrows are and anticipate where to be when the arrows land in a certain configuration, because it's not random, it's basically going to be the same. Granted, it does get faster, but as long as you know where they're coming and where to stand when they are coming.
He also proved the point that Custer's Revenge never ends.
Exactly. The game just resets after 10,000 points. It just keeps going.
Exactly. 11,000 points all the time while Steve and Sally were outside. Didn't miss the whole entire thing.
Well, Scott and Sally.
Scott and Sally. That's Steve.
So it's a great so basically it's a great movie. It's got a great cast of characters. It's hilarious. It's got some very funny dialogue. It's got some very hilarious moments, and I can really relate to it because I hold parties like that all the time. I'm having game parties over at my house. You're usually at them.
Of course, the movie ends same way it started, playing the worst game ever made, E.T., which is Scott's favorite video.
Exactly, he loves E.T.
And no one can figure out why, because all you do is you have to pick at random which way to go, and if you lose, you have to go back.
Well, plus it's the pits. Everybody hates the pits. Like, he figured out the trick to the pits. Like,
and Sally asking how to play the game.
Yeah, so that they play it together in a very sweet moment. And I really did like it. I thought it really was very honorable to a lot of the classic games. How H.S. Warshaw got his the guy who basically designed E.T. and also Thor's Revenge, I believe it is, or something like that. Did get a nod to it. It had the great commercials. The title credits were done very well with the commercials being shown from all the classics, the units of the day, of the original Atari commercials and all the original Nintendo commercials and game software commercials. It was just a love letter to game love. It really was. It was a love letter to gamers. It's a great movie. I loved it intensely. And by the way, Brad Jones, if you are watching this, release that detective movie. I want to watch Midnight Heat. I want to see that.
But if you don't know anything about old games or their stories or anything, it's not going to. You're not going to understand the story. It's all about jokes from old video
Exactly.
games.
The humor is obscure, which is my favorite kind of humor. I love obscure humor.
I mean, I knew some things, and most of their jokes I did not get. He had to explain to me, but I did get some of them. Some of them were kind of obvious to pick out from like Mario and stuff.
Mm-hmm. I did have to tell you about the Ghostbusters joke references and the references to Castlevania 2, which there were plenty, and the references to Deadly Towers. And a lot of them were self-explanatory, but some of them weren't. You know, some of them you might miss out on.
And some of them are from games that no one's ever even heard of.
Exactly. Definitely, if you're not a game nerd, watch the movie with one. Maybe a boyfriend or a girlfriend that's a game nerd or something like that. It's so much better.
Or at least if you hear them say something, pause the game, look it up, and find out the meaning of the
exactly.
and actually get the joke.
Yeah, and you will be able to get the joke. So, so that comes to the end of this week's movie of the week. We might be doing this again. I have another movie lined up. Creature features How to Make a Monster. Mm-hmm. I think we're going to be doing this. So post a comment about what you liked, what you didn't like.
And suggest a movie. Exactly.
Suggest any game-related movies that you might think of. I already know a whole bunch in the top of my head, but we're always looking for more. Unfortunately, I'm sorry about the fact that we couldn't include clips. No way to do it. There's no way to actually encode that kind
Once
of thing.
we figure it out, we will start including clips.
Yeah, also. So take care. Have a great day, everybody. Maniac and Diskreader out. Oh, and you can check out Diskreader's website at youtube.com/Diskreader117. You can check out my website, gameaccess.net. Take care.